Hi, today I'll be talking about some ways to enrich life and really care for the self and be the honest self, and how this is the key to being content with our relationships, um, our contributions, our possessions, our wealth, and our communications, which includes family, friends, community, support system. And I'm going to start here by talking for a moment about what I've been busy with for the 3 days that I didn't put up videos, which actually turned into 4 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So for Monday and Tuesday I had put up in advance on Sunday, but for Wednesday and Thursday, and today's Friday, I didn't have any videos. Wednesday I extended my silent retreat, and Thursday I was busy practicing talking with humans and didn't have a chance to talk to my iPad. So I'm going to be putting up 3 videos today. This is the first one. This is for Wednesday, my silent retreat. And I'm going to start now with some of the material, which is that most of us want to feel like we have more, like we are enriched, like we have priceless value, really. And so how to care for an introverted person. This is the self that is able to approve of us. It's not the one that seems so strong and seems so great. That one is actually trying to get approval. So the strong, smart one wants approval, right? And then the way to look at it is like the introverted one who's watching is the one that approves. So to connect with that one, there's some ways in which we have to look at relationship and communication. And that way we'll be able to connect with others who also we have engagement with in terms of approving and being approved of as we are, as I am. So first of all, reprimanding in private, not interrupting, respecting privacy needs, letting them observe in new situations, never publicly embarrassing them, giving time to think, not demanding instant answers, giving advance notice of unexpected changes in life, teaching new skills privately, not pushing them to make a lot of friends, respecting their introversion, not trying to make them extroverted, enabling them to find one best friend with similar interests and abilities, and giving a 15-minute warning to finish what they're doing. This is a way to care for the part of us that approves of us. We have to care for this one to approve of ourselves. Some ways that Dr. Lauren Fogel-Mercy says we can look at communication patterns that aren't working, which cause what I just shared not to happen, how to not care for the self, is when we start getting into criticism mode, defensive mode, contempt or looking down, degrading mode, or stonewalling, like cutting off, going numb, shutting down, quiet, treatment kind of mode. She says, though, how do we handle when there's that anxiety and fear coming up from growth versus from harm? She says we have to look at the difference. Anxiety and fear due to harm violates our values. When it's growth, it doesn't violate our values. When it's due to growth, it doesn't threaten our life, our health, our safety. But when it's anxiety about harm, so we're actually developing a relationship to trust ourselves instead of just like getting overwhelmed by having to grow. And you care for what's growing, so you don't overstimulate, overwhelm, overload the growing one. And when we have anxiety due to our growth, it aligns with what we want in life, but it's difficult. And when it's due to harm, it doesn't align with what we want in life. And when it's due to growth, we have a choice, we have agency. And when it's due to harm, we don't have any choice or agency. So before I get to my personal practice, I'll share, there's some Jewish wisdom, which is the idea of, maybe in Jewish culture, we have our nose in a book a lot, but this is about not just having your nose in a book, to actually be a contributor and to actually be a creator. You have to be yourself. And what does that mean? It means you have to give a piece of yourself every time I hear yoga teachers say, leave something on the mat. It's kind of like when someone who loves you and you're seeing a friend of yours, an acquaintance, and they say, take care. They're literally saying, take care. They're literally saying, leave care. This care becomes something that we're so content we can care. And this is how I would say that, I'm gonna give a few points. First of all, there's this woman, Esther Hadassah. She's a Jewish natural healer. She does Chinese medicine. And she says it's the Chinese medicine that was given as a gift from Abraham the patriarch to the concubines who went to go live in the East. So it's a Jewish practice to have natural healing. And the main difference with Chinese medicine is you treat somebody while they're healthy. Prevention's better than the cure. This is most Eastern medicine. You live a clean and healthy lifestyle. In the Western, you treat something when it's sick. So actually, that's a very important way to live. That's a Jewish way to live, starting from before the Jews even got the Torah, the first Jew. Another thing is from Michal Muchnik. This is an artist. I am using an artist because I'm an artist, so I'm relating to him. He says, art's something within you. You bring it out to those around you. And that's this idea of you have the self-care, you can have something of yourself to share. And then the Lubavitcher Rebbe has a couple comments he says about art. He says, when you give a gift of your painting, and I'll extend it to a song, a dance, you're giving a part of your soul. This is what I'm calling the self. He said, those who have been divinely gifted in art, whether sculpture, painting, or the like, and we could say any contribution, have the privilege, or even if you have a great business model, or you have some platform where you want to help people and you bring a new way of doing it into the world. He says, whatever it is, you have the privilege of being able to convert an inanimate thing, your tools, for me, it's like brush, paints, canvas, wood, stone, whatever, and you bring it into life. That's the soul. That's the life you're giving it of yourself. In a deeper sense, it's the ability to transform it, to a certain extent, the material into the spiritual. Even when the certain is in a still life, like it's going to be stable, static form. And certainly where the artistic work has to do with living creatures and humans. How much more so if the art medium is used to advance ideas, especially Torah and mitzvos, which is truth and righteousness, which would raise the artist's skill to its highest level. So that really warms my heart and makes me happy, to share. And that's the key to feeling content and abundant, and that's priceless value. That's the priceless value here. And I'll give one sort of last source before I talk about the practices I did, and it's from Avi Hill. He says, what stops us from wanting to contribute? You could also say why we're here, to help, to share. And he says a few things. He says it could be ego, laziness, fear. And I spoke about fear and anxiety with Dr. Lauren Fogel Mercy, but you could have the walls up. You could be unwilling, inability to leave comfort zone, inability to compromise, selfishness, or refusing to leave the I, to get out of ourselves. So some ways in which I wanted to take this a little head on, not taking all of it, but, I wrote a prompt, honesty in our dealings. It says when we go to heaven, when we die, or hell, or whatever, the portal, the crossover, they're going to ask, did you do business? Did you buy? Did you sell? Were you part of the flow of abundance and communication, which is content, right? To be content, to be filled, to have content. Were you faithful in it? To yourself, to your soul. So I wrote about it. I said, this kind of addresses this idea generally, but I went to where I needed to. And I said, I made a lot of mistakes with trying to get everything for free that I could. I didn't realize yet what's worth having is worth sharing. And when I take what's not my portion, it's taken from me at another time or place. I wrote, I never wanted to be fake or lie at jobs, so I avoided pretentious or charming work where I had to mislead. I degraded myself when I accepted money for providing sexual or sensual healing, satisfaction, but I learned the hard way it's not worth it. And I got benefits from the government and student loans in my day rather than stealing or doing illegal or crimes. And the last thing is stuff to enrich life. What are some things that make me feel like I'm worth $1 million or that life is the most precious gift? Dance, yoga or stretching, exercise, restoring, a bath or a shower, a face mask, new jewelry. I don't change my jewelry often, usually once a week. You might notice. Maybe you didn't see me much this week because of the videos not being recorded during the week, but pretty much once a week I changed my jewelry for the Sabbath. Singing, cleaning. Some of these might not sound exciting, but they really make me feel good, and they make my life feel good. Meal planning, calling a friend or two, journaling, biking, doing a good deed, people watching in the park, drumming with a beat, art, breathing practice. I did it today. Just so precious. I connect with that self, touch it, volunteering at a shelter for less fortunate or charity of some kind, saying psalms or scriptures. I do this every day. I wrote retail therapy, but I like going to the Dollar Tree, and I give myself a budget. It could be $10-15. Usually I try to get stuff for the home or gifts for people because I just want to get stuff, so I don't need it to be that I have more possessions. I make collages, or I go for a walk. And so I'll end with that, and I'm going to be recording another video for Thursday, which I missed because I was not available to connect with my iPad yesterday, and then I'll record a video for Friday for today.